हाय गाइस, मैं हूँ डॉक्टर हरीशा, ऑल्सो नोन एज योर मेड बडी। एंड आज मैं इंटरव्यू लूँगी डॉक्टर जसमीत. शी हैज़ क्रैक्ड यू असेंबली स्टेप 2. सो डॉक्टर जसमीत, प्लीज़ इंट्रोड्यूस yourself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jasneet, and I'm from Punjab, and I am a 2014 MBBS graduate from Government Medical College Amritsar, and I have, I'm an USMLE aspirant, so I'm currently on that journey. I have cracked step one and step two CK for now, and I'll be going for electives in the coming year, and hopefully applying and getting internal medicine residency in Math Cycle 2023. So,
Wow,
hi guys.
that's so inspiring. So, I wanted to ask you that how many exams it takes to get a consultancy level in US?
To reach in the US, right, for the postgraduate course that we say MDs here in India, right, there are three steps. Like step one is basically the basic sciences that we read during the first 3 years of our MBBS course, and then there is step two CK, in which we have all the clinical courses like medicine, surgery, pediatrics, OBG, and a bit of statistics and all. And then previously, there used to be a clinical exam in the US, but that used to be the second part of the step two. But
Okay.
recently, they have allowed OET exam so that you can appear in that because of that COVID situation, right? So now, if you appear for OET and then you can get ECFMG certified, ECFMG is a body that is like a US body that allows certification to the doctors to practice in the US. So after these two steps, you can get ECFMG certified to work in the US. Then you apply for residency, but there is a third step also, that exam that you have to give. That's a 2-day exam, okay, but that is not necessary to apply for postgraduate courses. That exam you can also give during the first year of your residency, but mostly foreign graduates give that before applying for residency
Mhm.
so that it gives them a bit of an upper hand. So yeah, there are three steps. After you're done with it, you are like a permanent registered practitioner in the US, so you can work in
Okay,
there.
so you have given your OET exam. How was that? Like,
No, no, I have not given OET because
okay,
recently that ECFMG site have announced
okay,
that from the next year they won't be considering OET for a certification, right? Even if
okay.
I would have appeared for it now,
Mm-hmm.
they would invalidate it in the coming year because I will apply in the next year, right? So they
Right.
will issue new guidelines in in January or February, I think. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
waiting for those guidelines to get ECFMG certified. I'm done with my steps basically, step one and step two CK. I just have to, give the third exam, whatever they will announce in the coming year that is like needed to get ECFMG certified. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, because they change, keep
Mm-hmm.
on changing guidelines, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have to be like pretty up to date, because then if
Yeah.
you do OET now and it won't be valid in the coming year, it would be like giving two exams for a single
Mm-hmm.
certification, right? So
Exactly.
it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So, why did you choose USMLE and not PLAB and not any other exam? Why US?
Um, to be honest, when I was doing internship in India, right? Here I felt like doctors get a bit of they are on the receiving end of violence and all. I experienced 1 2 cases like that, and then I felt like UK there is a separate system, okay, like the PLAB and everything. Like in UK you have to similarly you have to clear 2 steps, but then at the end it's difficult to get into residency. But in US, like many of my seniors have gone through that process, it was pretty familiar because in my family no other doctor is there, so I needed guidance, to be honest. So I approached my seniors and they also suggested me that US is a better option. So yeah, and anyway US has a really good healthcare system, right? And I
Yeah.
know how to get into it, so I thought, yeah, let's go with that.
So, what do you think? Is NEET PG difficult or the USMLE?
I would say USMLE is more difficult because in NEET PG, what I have noticed till now is that you have to cram a lot of stuff, and if you cram it or if you revise it like 6-7 times, you're able to crack it, right? If you keep on revising that. But in USMLE, they try to stimulate you and try to have you integrate all the subjects that you have learned. Like in one question, it won't be about medicine only. It will integrate radiology, it will integrate pathology, it will integrate all the things like that can be like a patient management thing. Okay, they will at the end, they will give you a whole history and maybe lab findings, maybe some biopsy report and everything, and then they will ask you how will you manage this case. Like that's kind of holistically treating that we should know at this level, I feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, that thing you have to like make your mind used to it, how to solve that kind of questions. So that's why it takes
On the scale of 1 to 10, how much marks, how much the difficulty level, how much marks you'll give to NEET PG and the USMLE exam?
um I have given, I have idea only about these two exams, right? I don't know about those.
Yes, yes.
But then if I have to compare these two exams, I would say like NEET PG maybe 6 out of 10 and MLE maybe 8. Like you can
All
crack
right.
it, but then like yeah, you need effort.
All right. So, what were the resources? And tell me more about step one. What were the subjects asked, and since when you started preparing everything?
I think for step one, like I prepared it for 7 to 8 months because at that time COVID hit, right? So I was at home
All right.
anyway. So like I was thinking anyway, every other resource you can find it online, right? So yeah, I prepared it during that time, and then like it took me 7 months to prepare for it. And then the resources that I used were like basically the staple resources that we use for step one are basically UWorld, First Aid, and Pathoma. Okay, so
Okay.
those three books are basically those three resources are very essential, and they help you a lot during that process. You cannot miss these. And if you want to read extra, you can refer to Boards and Beyond videos or maybe Kaplan notes and everything. I refer to those two, like because I had a lot of time because of
Mm-hmm.
that COVID. Anyway, the exams was not
Yeah.
happening, right? So yeah. So then yeah, I UWorld is the main resource, I would say, like the Q Bank
Okay.
basically, and
Mm-hmm.
First Aid is a book that we refer
Yes.
to that has all
Mm-hmm.
the information that we need to know. And then UWorld is basically the standard. If you can solve UWorld once or twice, you have
Mm-hmm.
gone through all the questions, then you're good to go. I mean, that's good.
Okay.
Like it tells you where you stand and how much you are scoring. And they have self-assessment
Mm-hmm.
exams too. Like for example, we have grand test for GTs, right? Similarly, they
Yeah.
have self-assessment exams. Those
Mm-hmm.
are for USMLE. But like the real exam is 8-hour exam. Okay, so
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
like the self-assessments are 4 hours only because they don't simulate the exact environment, exam
Mm-hmm.
environment. So yeah, according to that, they give you a score, like what's the estimated score you can get in the final
Okay.
exam. So you get an idea, kind of like
So,
where
how
you
much
stand.
is the score for the passing marks? How much are the passing marks?
For step one, I think recently they increased it. Previously, it was 194, and now they made it 196 out of 300.
Okay.
So yeah, you need 196 to pass it, and then once you like pass, even if you get 198 or maybe 200, then you are not allowed to reappear for that exam for 6 to 7 years.
Oh
Okay,
God.
so it's like a gamble. And then like the average score that US graduate, or you are competing with the US graduates, right? So they score
Mm-hmm.
around 220s, 230s. So you have to get more than 230 at least to
Mm-hmm.
be in the competitive, that match thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what are the subjects asked in first step one?
They basically have major focus on pathology, I would say, and then the first 3 years, as I said, in whatever we read in MBBS, right? So till IENT, I would say they ask a bit, mainly epidemiology,
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. IENT mainly is covered in
Okay.
clinical subjects because those are clinical subjects, right? So it's like a
Mm-hmm.
mix and match. Otherwise, like pathology is the main focus and pharm. So yeah, like the first 2 year subjects, I
Okay.
would say. Yeah, after I
So
think
we can
second
give
year.
first two. after second year we can give step 1.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to tell you. Like
Okay.
after you are done with your second year exams, right? Then you are eligible to appear for step one. But to appear in step two, you have to be you have to clear like basically fourth year. You know that clinical exams. During
Mm-hmm.
internship, you can appear for step two CK, and for step one, you
Okay.
can appear after the second year also.
So how much money does it require to fill the first step 1?
Um, Actually, there are a lot of steps. Okay, it's not like you have to like you will just register for it and you're giving
Yeah.
that step one. So the thing is, first you have to get apply for ECFMG, and that
Mm-hmm.
there is a registration fee. Okay, so it's
Yes.
around 10,000 rupees in
Okay.
Indian currency. Okay, and then you have to get your notarized thing. They will send
Mm-hmm.
your college an application to verify if this student is in fact a student of your own of this college. So then that notarized thing will happen. It will take around 1 month something, and then they will tell you that now you can apply for step one. And then once you like the fees is around 900 something dollars. And then for because we are giving in India, so there is a fees for that too because it's outside US. So it
Yes.
comes out around $1,100, I would say. And yeah, so
Okay.
around 1 lakh. So yeah,
Okay.
for one exam. And then obviously you are buying resources too. UWorld is
Mm-hmm.
expensive, so if you buy 6 months subscription, it would like cost you around, I think, $35,000, 35,000 rupees. Sorry.
Rupees. Yeah.
Yeah, it's $419, I think. So yeah, something like that. Some people buy it
Okay.
for an year, so like they have packages,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So yeah.
Okay. So do you think Marrow and Preplada are enough for this
No, no, no.
USMLE?
Marrow and Prep Ladder won't prepare you for MLE because
Mm-hmm.
they are pretty focused on NEET PG, right? So,
Yes.
like, if you have those resources, I would say it would help definitely because the teachers,
Mm-hmm.
the lectures, the stuff is same basically. It's just the way the exams give you and tells you how to use
Mm-hmm.
that info to come to an answer, right? That's different. So that kind of things, I think for learning purposes, you can refer to these resources. But for QBank and like to get in the mindset of the exam setter, right? You
We
have to
have
buy
to
that
do
U
that.
word
Yeah.
and refer to USMLE resources, right? So yeah.
So what about step 2? How are the questions asked in step 2?
In step two, there are mainly management questions. Like in step one, they will ask you about maybe pathology, what is the diagnosis, right? As we know,
Mm-hmm.
like if this pathology is present, it would be the diagnosis. In step two, they mainly ask about management or what would be the next step in this particular patient, like what
Okay.
other next investigation you would be doing. So those kind of questions are pretty important in step two. Or they will ask you about the screening process. For example, if a cancer patient comes to you, you are treating them, and how often would you suggest that patient to come for surveillance or something like that, or follow. So they have next step questions and management mainly. And they also ask about those drug ads. Like if you like some EMR person is coming to you, some drug company is coming to you and referring you that this is the drug ad, this is the drug that they have launched recently, how to put out inference from it, like is this drug important enough to prescribe to your patients or not. So
Mm-hmm.
those kind of questions are also there in step 2.
Okay, so it's pretty clinical based. You have to
Yeah,
apply your
exactly.
analytical skills.
Yeah.
Okay. So after step 2, what are the procedures now? Now, what will you do? Like, how will you prepare for your
After
step 3?
Yeah, actually, after step 2 CK, I told you there is a third, second part, right? Either it would be OET or something else. Previously, it was a clinical exam that used to happen in US. So now in the coming year, I don't know what they will approve of, but right now OET is kind of an English proficiency test for like doctors. Okay, so they will give you some cases and all. But then for step three is also like a clinical exam. Okay, it's a 2 days exam. They will give us clinical simulations, like a proper simulated
Okay.
patients cases and all that. So you have to clear that too. Like I haven't started preparing for step 3, so I'll do that after like I'm done with
Yeah.
clinical rotations in the US. So yeah.
Okay, so now you have to go to US and give your step
Yeah.
3. So when are you planning to go?
I am applying for visa now in January, Feb.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. And I am applying for rotations in the US hospitals, right? So in the coming maybe April, May, I'll be going there and rotating in the
Mm-hmm.
US hospitals, because you need a letter of recommendations from the US doctors to apply
Okay.
during residency, so that you can show that you can adjust to their environment. You can, adjust smoothly
Mm-hmm.
and get into the healthcare system of the US. So yeah, you have to show that you have worked in US for at least 2 to 3 months. So yeah, that I will be doing in the coming year. And then in September we have like the applications open, right? In August, September, you have to upload your
Mm-hmm.
documents, and like after that there will be an interview season, where the hospitals where I have applied, they will
Mm-hmm.
offer me interviews if they find
All
me
right.
a perfect fit for their hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So after that interview, they will tell me if I'll be going to US like as a postgraduate course
Oh
in
my
a
God,
or
it's a
not.
long process.
Yeah, it's a long lengthy process. You have to be very patient about it, I would say.
Yes, exactly. So, how many years it took to prepare? Like, how many months for step 1 and how many months for step 2 seeker?
Ideally, I would say if you are dedicated, right? If you have nothing else to do and you are pretty focused on these exams, then it
Exactly.
would take 6 to 7 months for step one. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
4 months for step two, just after step one, okay? Because the information is kind of an overlap. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have a gap, I think 6 months are enough for both exams. Yeah.
Okay. So, you told that you're from Punjab. So, most of the Punjabis go to Canada. Why not Canada?
Actually, like you, the thing is, Canada healthcare system is pretty good, yeah. But then their, I would say, pathway to enter into postgraduate courses is pretty tough. They also have two exams, okay, but
Mm-hmm.
then they prefer Canadians only,
All
because they
right.
don't want their own youth to go unemployed, right? So they have exact number of seats that they have for MBBS kind of courses, equivalent course. So they just give their own students postgraduate seats and all. So it's kind of that they don't have a priority, or I would say they are not that open to foreign medical
Mm-hmm.
graduates to come to their country, just regarding to medical profession, I would say, because the other professions I have
Mm-hmm.
seen they're pretty open to. But then yeah, so US
Mm-hmm.
have a basically I would say a gap. Like there are more MD, basically MBBS course that we call in India, they call it MD in US. Okay, so
Okay.
like basically you can say MBBS equivalent
Mm-hmm.
MD students in US are
Mm-hmm.
a bit less as compared to the seats they have for postgraduate courses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have to fill those seats. So they fill those seats through that foreign that exam, that USMLE, and they
Mm-hmm.
basically call foreign medical graduates to come to their country and work there. So that's why
Okay.
we have a like a better chance to get into US rather than
Mm-hmm.
Canada or somewhere
Exactly.
else. Yeah.
So, do gap years matter in USMLE?
Yeah, definitely. They look at your holistic CV. Like, they don't
Mm-hmm.
just look at your scores. They will look at your overall personality. They will look what you did in your when you were doing MBBS. What you did after that. Are you doing some voluntary work? Have you did some research, or like are you involved in some organizations, or like overall what have you done, and what
Mm-hmm.
are you exactly? Because they want they are investing in you, right? So you will be coming to their hospital, they want to see if you would be a better fit for their hospital. If they find you that you are really good and you will be a better fit, right, then it's not just you applying to colleges, they
Mm-hmm.
are also looking for candidates that are going to improve or be a good fit to their
Yes.
hospital. So that's why it's like a match, that's why they call it a match,
Mm-hmm.
because hospitals are looking for their match and we are looking for our match, right? So yeah, once both our preferences match, only then we get a seat. So yeah, I think that's why.
Also, many foreign medical graduates try and prepare for USMLE. So I would like to know that they have to be recognized by something, or any foreign medical graduate can apply.
Yeah, any foreign medical graduate can apply. It's just that they have a site called like World Directory of Medical Schools, something like that, and you have to check if your college has
Mm-hmm.
been registered in it or not. Because many
Okay.
colleges are opening, right? If they meet that standards, and then they get verified by that site. If your college name is there on that particular site, you are eligible to apply, like all over the world. So it's fine.
Okay. So, do they need to do any registration for that? Like, if foreign medical graduate wants to apply in second year, do they need to register on their site, ECF, something you told?
Yeah, ECFMG. Yeah, I told you, right? Previously,
Mm-hmm.
you have to put in the application, and then they will send you an ID password or something, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have to pay that registration fees, that 10,000 rupees. And then that
Mm-hmm.
notarized thing have to happen. Like some US lawyer will check your passport and check if you are an authentic person or
Okay.
not. And then only they will verify your account, and then you can apply for step one. Like it's a 1 month process, I would say. Like, so if you are planning to like
All right.
apply in the coming months, so beware
Mm-hmm.
that that 1 month will be used in that process only, so you won't be able to apply
So,
before
when
that.
did you apply? Like, in which month you applied for this
um
ECFMG?
I applied in February 2020. So like mine
Perfect.
got approved in March, right? So then from April I
Mm-hmm.
started preparing, and then yeah, I gave my exam in 2020. And then yeah, in 2021 I recently, like 4 months back, gave my step 2 CK. So yeah.
Okay. So, do you found any centers unavailable or anything like that? Because I have heard that FLAB, when the students are giving FLAB exam, they find that there are not enough centers there. So, what about USMLE?
In USMLE, the system is a bit different because there are only 5 prometric centers in India. Okay, so only
Mm-hmm.
those centers can conduct USMLE exams. They have the authority to do so, and the nearest one in the north, like in the whole north, it's just in Delhi. So, like in Delhi, they
All
will
right.
show you. Yeah, they will show you like all over the calendar. There will be dates available. Like only on Saturday and Sunday they don't take that exam, and on the first 14 days of January, because those are the maintenance 2 weeks. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the year exams are happening from Monday to Friday. They will show you the dates, like whichever dates are available, you can pick from there, because other exams are also happening in the same prometric center, right? Like GRE and other stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have to book accordingly. It's better to book it like 1-2 months before you want to give your
Mm-hmm.
exam, preferably. But then some people do book it later on also, because the dates are pretty available, because they are available all over the calendar,
Okay.
right? So it's up to you when you want to give your
Mm-hmm.
exam. Yeah, it's just that during December I have felt that like you can get a bit of a difficulty while booking the exam, because so many people want to give it
Mm-hmm.
before the year ends, right? Just get done
Yes.
with it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, December might be a bit difficult to get a date. So otherwise it's fine, like you can get a date easily.
Okay, that's good. So, what do you think that do 10th and 12th marks matter in this
No, no,
USMLE?
not at all.
Do they
Not at
check
all.
that?
No, no, no. They will just ask for maybe some documents, maybe for that name proof and that
Mm-hmm.
date of birth certificate, something. For
Mm-hmm.
that, you have to present 10th certificate. Otherwise, marks and everything where you did your 12th from doesn't matter at all.
MBBS transcript
No, no.
matters.
Yeah,
No?
MBBS transcripts matter. Yeah, I mean they
Okay.
just need that you have not, have a supply or something, or you have just, if you have a distinction, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you don't have one, like it doesn't matter that much, because in US they grade everyone, right? But in our
Mm-hmm.
India, we have a totally different system, so they cannot
Yes, marks.
compare other countries
Mm-hmm.
to their US, right? They just check that you are a good enough student to be in their program, otherwise they don't matter much. So
So, this is the last question I wanted to ask. That were you very intelligent at your school? your medical school?
Okay, so in school, obviously, I was the studious one. Okay, so like in medical, I topped, but then when I entered college, right, because everybody has been a topper in their own school. So
Yeah,
MBBS is like a cream, right? You know that everybody comes
I
from,
know.
like, they have scored well in schools and all. But in MBBS, I think during first year, I was a bit ignorant. Like, I was enjoying my life. I was so happy that I got into medical school and all. But then from second year, I got pretty serious and then I started studying and all.
Mhm.
I think then was, I can call that I was the studious one. So yeah, like not the topper or anything,
Okay.
okay, like an average student only. But then among my
Okay.
class, like I was okay. Yeah.
So, what are the tips you want to give to your juniors if they are preparing for USMLE?
I would say if they want to prepare for USMLE, like think about it during your second year, because like just think, don't start preparing, but at
Mm-hmm.
least think about it in the second year what you want to do, either
Mm-hmm.
Indian PG or PLAB or like USMLE. Just decide it just after your second year exams, and then because our third year is pretty lenient, right? Because it's just three subjects and
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of time on your hands, so then you can start preparing for step one, and it's easier because you have already read patho and farm. As I said, those are the major focus areas in this step one exam, so it
Mm-hmm.
would be easier to understand concepts in step one if you're reading stuff for that. So if you
Exactly.
can appear for step one in the like third year, that 6 months window, and then you can start preparing for that
Mm-hmm.
your own MBBS pros. If not, don't worry, like you can do it after internship also, as I did, or during your internship. Like it depends, but then still
Mm-hmm.
be just be focused on what you want, because I have noticed so many people changing paths, like they decide they want to do NEET PG and then suddenly they want to do
Yeah, they're
MLE, and they
confused.
think it's not and then it's not for them, like something like that, because
Yeah.
then you waste a lot of your time and energy working for a goal that you don't even
Mm-hmm.
want. So it's better
Yes.
if you just decide in, I would say, second and third year what you want. You can work on it later also, but then yeah. And yeah, one
Mm-hmm.
more tip I want to give is like go for US electives in internship, okay? Because when
Okay.
you're a student, you can get hands-on experience in US, so in internship you can go there. So do that before
All right.
doing anything else. You can go there before registering yourself for ACFMG. You can go there
Mm-hmm.
before even appearing for step one. So it's okay if you have not even decided. If you're thinking about it, still go to the US and get
Okay.
a experience.
So tell me more
So
about this US electives because I'm doing internship right now. I would love to go there.
okay, so the thing is, US wants to know if you will be able to adjust in their health care system, right? So
Okay.
they ask for at least 2 to 3 months, experience in the US, that you have
Mm-hmm.
shadowed doctors there. So when you are a student, it's easier to get into colleges and get the experience there, right? Once you graduate, they are a bit cautious to let you in, because then they think you might
Mm-hmm.
migrate here, that kind of US
Mm-hmm.
embassy stuff. But then if you're a student, apply to universities, like you can Google them, those universities, and they will have
Mm-hmm.
a visiting students thing. Okay, that column would be there, and that column is just for students to come to their hospital and learn stuff. Okay,
Okay.
through that portal, there is a new website that they launched 1 or 2 like years back, called
Mm-hmm.
VSLO. Okay,
Okay.
so through that, that is a single portal through which you can apply to multiple colleges in the US. Okay, so but
All
the
right.
drawback is your college should also be a part of that VSLO program. My college
Okay.
wasn't, so I wasn't able
All
to go
right.
in during my internship. So you have to check, like, if your college is a part of that VSLO, or you can ask your college to become a part of it. There is a process
Okay.
there, like how some college
Mm-hmm.
can become a member of it. So yeah, once your
Mm-hmm.
college is a member, you can easily apply to multiple colleges, and there would be a lot of info about every college, every course, wherever you want to rotate,
All
which
right.
doctor will be,
Mm-hmm.
you will be shadowing. And then through that portal you can apply, and they will tell you a list of documents that you need to upload. You can just upload
Mm-hmm.
those documents, and your application will get accepted, and you can go there when that date comes, right? But
So, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to ask that I can do this along with my internship, or my internship years would be cut. Like if I go there for 3 months, so my internship here will be stopped in India.
oh, yeah, yeah, your internship will be stopped here. Like it will be because in our colleges they don't consider
Mm-hmm.
like foreign medical experience, I would say internship experience, as a part of our curriculum, right?
All right.
So for that, for India purposes, you have to complete that 1 year mandatory internship, right? But if you're taking a break in between, it's okay. You can go. You can talk to your college. Okay, they will allow you that leave. You can easily take that 3 month or whatever, like 1 month, two
Mm-hmm.
months, like how many you need. On the basis of that, you can go to US, and then once you come back you can continue your internship here, okay, and then complete your mandatory whatever is left. Maybe it will take 3 more months extra, right? Because you have to
Mm-hmm.
mandatory do that 1 month, sorry, 1 year
Yeah.
internship for India. And then it would count as a US clinical experience that you did as a student in US if you're applying for USMLE
Okay.
later on. So yeah, it would
Okay.
help in USMLE only, I would say.
That is actually very helpful.
Yeah. But the thing is, you
Thank you,
have to
Dr.
apply at
Jasmine.
least 3 to 4 months
Yeah.
before, because then the slots get filled
Okay.
and you have to plan accordingly, right? So try to
Mm-hmm.
fill forms at least 4 or 5 months before. Apply to colleges beforehand, so that
Okay.
they can also approve, and you have time to for
Mm-hmm.
the visa if you don't have one, or you can get
Yes.
acquainted
Mm-hmm.
to whatever you need and stuff like that. You can talk to your college. So yeah, just keep that 4 months window period at least. So yeah.
That was great. Your advices and everything was superb. Thank you, Dr. Jasneet. It was wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, it was same here. Nice to talk to you too.